Oh, hello, people. How are you today? Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear it. What? Oh, I know I've been gone for a while, but here I am again. You guys can look at my ugly face, barely, up here in this tiny little thumbnail and listen to my stupid opinions. And you guys wonder why I don't make as many videos anymore. Well, who needs to hear my ranting, rambling voice? Despite all that, here I am. I'm going to do it anyway because that's what I do. And because the Wolfgang Press have a new album out. And yeah, I was going to do this video last weekend when the album came out, but I just thought I want at least a week to let this album sink in because it's the Wolfgang Press. This is a big moment, man. Those of you out there who have been a Wolfgang Press fan for a long time, and I feel like any Wolfgang Press fan out there, you have to be an old school fan because they haven't put out an album in 30 fucking years, man. I mean, 29 to be official, but we'll just say 30 years. Let's round up. It's been 3 decades since we had any new material from this brilliant band, and here it is. It's finally here. A second shape. Here it is, right here, man. How exciting is this? It's Wolfgang Press. They're back, right? Now, full disclosure, I'm showing you the vinyl here. I have not received my copy yet. I pre-ordered this from Boomcat, and it has yet to arrive. And I just checked my informed delivery account on my United States Postal Service account, and it is not due to be delivered today. So I don't know when I'm getting this. I don't have it yet, but that's okay because I have Discogs here, barely working. I signed into Discogs a few moments ago so I could pull this up, and Discogs has been taking a major shit lately. They take major shits all the time. I was not able to pull up these images a few minutes ago. It took a few minutes for Discogs to get off the shitter and actually do its job, but it's doing its job now. And this is a smattering array of images of the vinyl copy of A Second Shape. I don't have it yet, but here it is. And it looks like there's no inner sleeve with it. At least the person who uploaded these images did not include any image of an inner sleeve. So that kind of sucks. So usually with Wolfgang Press, you got the lyrics along with the album, which is key. It's not always easy understanding Michael Allen's lyrics. It was easier on Funky Little Demons and Queer. His voice kind of all of a sudden was just very, very clear and easy to understand. But you old school Wolfgang Press fans, you know that I don't know if it was a common complaint, but it was a common comment that you couldn't always understand what he was saying. His vocals were like deep down in the mix, especially on Burden of Mules and those early Wolfgang Press releases. It was tough to hear his voice. I mean, you could hear it, but rather it was hard to understand what he was saying. Not on this new album. It's pretty easy to hear what he's saying, not always though. It's just hearing his voice again. God, it's so great to hear his voice again. Michael Allen has just got one of the most unique voices in music, period. To have him back is really refreshing, man. Not only to hear his voice, but his content. Michael Allen sings about things that other people don't sing about, and it's really, really fucking refreshing, man. Like he sings on Queer, around here I think I'm Jesus, and I'm sick of all the songs about love. That should tell you all you need to know in terms of scraping the surface about what you're getting into with Michael Allen's lyrics. He sings about things that you're not expecting. And that makes him a diamond in the rough times a million. He is a great lyricist. He's got a wonderful sounding voice. And God, it's so great to have him back. Now, this new album is only featuring two guys from the original lineup. It's Andrew Gray and Michael Allen. I don't know where Cox is. Mark Cox, I don't know what happened to him. He's not part of this new album. Kind of a bummer. It is what it is. He's not there. Frankly, to hear Michael Allen's voice, I think a lot of fans would agree. Like, as long as you're getting him, it sounds like Wolfgang Press. I mean, he's got such a unique, distinctive voice. You gotta have that in order to enjoy anything that is donning the Wolfgang Press logo and name. And for all intents and purposes, Second Shape sounds like a Wolfgang Press album. It sounds a lot like old school Wolfgang Press as well. So if you're a big fan of that 80s Wolfgang Press sound, and what I mean by that is like very introspective, very isolated, desolated, removed, claustrophobic. If you're a fan of that classic, I hate to say this, but goth kind of Wolfgang Press sound, you're very much going to like Second Shape. And if you're a Wolfgang Press fan, you've already heard this album anyway, so you know what I'm saying. It basically sounds like old school Wolfgang Press, but with a very new, slick production to it. It sounds very good. It's very well produced and mixed and mastered. It's got a very nice, updated technological sound, if you will, but it's got that old school feel to it. So it's a nice marriage of old and new school Wolfgang Press. And when you say new school, you mean Funky Little Demons, which is 30 years old now. But something this new record doesn't have, and I think for the most part, this, in my opinion, why it sounds like old school Wolfgang Press, is the songs are kind of nebulous. They don't have big harmonies and melodies like Queer and Funky Little Demons did. I felt like Queer, and I talked about this in my previous Wolfgang Press video, by the way. I hope you watched that if you haven't seen it. I'll link to it in this video. A couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I did a video on Queer and Funky Little Demons and my intense love for those albums. Queer, I always thought was kind of Wolfgang Press's nod to the rave scene and sample culture. It was kind of like their De La Soul 3 Feet High and Rising moment. It was tons of samples, but it was still Wolfgang Press, but it was very well produced and very dancey. Fucking brilliant album. And then Funky Little Demons was almost like a Motown record. This is the cool thing about Wolfgang Press. They've always kind of gone in different directions for all of their records. They've always kind of done different things. And Funky Little Demons was a very soulful, yeah, it was like a Motown record. I mean, it was very dancey in its way, kind of a natural extension to Queer in some way, but it was also much more organic with their instrumentation. I always thought, yeah, it was their Motown moment. Lots of big sounding songs and lots of soul. It was their soul record, really. So the Second Shape, it has those elements and it has the elements going back to the 80s, and it's just kind of like a nice big bubbling stew of what they've always done. But I think the general feel is it's very claustrophobic. It's very intensely personal. And the lyrics also show that when you can understand the lyrics. Again, I wish maybe the person who uploaded these photos just didn't upload the inner sleeve, but it looks like there's no inner sleeve with lyrics here. Anyone watching this video, you can let me know. I do anticipate getting the record any day now, but I don't have it. So this record, I'm trying to think of my favorite songs here. Again, this is a very, I know I've already said claustrophobic, but it's a very intense sounding album. It's not a big sounding album because Funky Little Demons was their biggest album they ever put out sonically. Lots of horns and big production and big harmonies and melodies, and the vocals were big and the guitars were big, the drums were big, everything was big. It was a huge production, a huge sound, and it was hugely entertaining. Second Shape is the complete antithesis to that. It's very quiet, very moody. And Michael Allen's lyrics and vocals are just fucking phenomenal. They're so good. He's always had this effect with his delivery anyway. It's like Michael Allen's vocals have always given me that feeling like you walk in, it's like a film noir almost. those you movie freaks out there, maybe you'll agree with this, but his vocals and deliveries, it always reminds me of, stumbling into a film noir set where it's dark and you look in the corner and there's someone sitting in a chair facing the other direction, but you can see the his cigarette in the dark. The tip of his cigarette is lit and there's smoke curling around him and the light is coming in through the shades. It's a jagged shape of light hitting his face and he says something out of the blue and it hits you like a ton of bricks and then he goes back to smoking his cigarette and his cigarette lights up as he takes a drag on it. Like that's what it's like listening to a Michael Allen vocal delivery. It's shrouded in darkness, but then he hits you with something that's like a ton of bricks. It's really powerful. That's what it's like listening to Second Shape. It's very dark, but then Michael Allen slaps you in the face with some really awesome lyrics. If that makes any sense, that's what it's like listening to this album. My favorite song right now, there's not a bad track on here, by the way. 21st Century right now is the song that I'm stuck on. I've listened to the whole album 4 or 5 times in the last week, but 21st Century is oof. Fucking great song, man. Take It Backwards, the lyrics on that one. I'm not going to give anything away. I want you guys to just go listen to this, all right? Take It Backwards is a classic Michael Allen song. The things he's singing about, the way he sees current society and well, anyway, I don't want to explain it too much. I want you to experience this on your own. Take It Backwards is a classic Wolfgang Press song, I think, and 21st Century is as well. Glacier is a brilliant way to end the album. This is a brilliant album, y'all. If you guys are on the fence and you haven't checked it out yet and you used to be a Wolfgang Press fan, and you're not sure what to think about this new album, something tells me you've already heard it. But if you're on the fence, go listen to it, man. Especially if you like the old school Wolfgang Press. What I mean by old school, and I'll show you if Discogs works. It'd be nice if Discogs works. It's being really slow today. These are the albums I'm talking about. Burden of Mules, Standing Up Straight, Birdwood Cage. If you're into this 80s Wolfgang Press, you're going to really enjoy Second Shape. And if you like Queer and Funky Little Demons, you're still going to like Second Shape. In fact, if you like Geniuser, which is Michael Allen's other band that he's been doing off and on over the last 15, 20 years, as you can see here, you're going to like Second Shape. Second Shape sounds a lot like Geniuser. It's very electronic, but it has Michael Allen singing. So if you're into Geniuser, you're going to really enjoy the new album. Let's take a look at these photos. We got them right here. Here we go. Here's Allen and Gray. This is basically the new lineup. Sans Cox. That's not code for anything, by the way. This is an old photo, though. Here we go. This is Cox right here. He is not present for the new album. Why that is, I don't know. By the way, why did the new album not come out on 4AD? Did Wolfgang Press not want that? I've read stories that they had a problem with 4AD at the end and they left. I don't, can anyone substantiate that? I don't know what the relationship is between these guys and 4AD. Would it have killed 4AD to put out a Wolfgang Press album in 2024? I mean, why not? They've certainly put out much worse shit, much worse shit since then. In fact, I haven't bought a 4AD release in years. I don't know. I'm not really into what they're doing anymore. But you guys in the 80s who were buying 4AD records, you know what I'm saying. When 4AD put something out in the 80s, you just got it. It was 4AD. Not so much anymore. It's kind of like Warp in that way. Back in the 90s, if something came out on Warp, you just bought it. But I don't know, not anymore. This I would think this looks like Funky Little Demons era. I think this is probably Funky Little Demons era. Funky Little Demons era. Oh, this is definitely Funky Little Demons. This is from the video for Going South. All of the characters in that video were wearing JFK masks. I'm pretty sure this is from the Going South video. I think this is from the Queer era. This would be from Queer. And then this is old school Wolfgang Press. But anyway, If you're into Geniuser, which I really think you should listen to, this is all really good stuff. Michael Allen's vocal stylings, you can't get any better than that. You are really, really going to like Second Shape. And listen, if you're a Wolfgang Press fan, how have you not heard this already anyway? I think you got to get this. And as you can see, I noticed I did mention that I don't have the record yet, but Second Shape is out on Apple Music. So this is another good reason to go get Apple Music. It does exist on Apple Music. The quality is just fine. It sounds fantastic. Go listen to this album, A Second Shape. I really doubt that you will be disappointed. I don't think you're going to be disappointed at all. It's a really, really good album. Go check it out. It's the Wolfgang Press. They're back. Reason to celebrate. See you later.